everybody. Good afternoon. I hope you enjoyed your lunch. As Dr. Glenn said, my name is Shanon Carson. I'm a managing shareholder of the law firm Berger, Montague, which is one of the largest and oldest plaintiffs' law firms in the United States. Can you guys all hear me okay? Is that a little better? I'm very grateful, Dr. Glenn, to have the opportunity to speak here today at the annual Dr. Ed Waite's Respiratory Pulmonary Medicine Conference. I know we're short on time, so I'm going to kind of skip to the substance of what Dr. Glenn asked me to talk about today, which is the Philips recall that I think all of you are familiar with and have been reading about in the news. On June 29th, 2021, just 2 weeks ago, our law firm filed the first nationwide class action lawsuit on behalf of our clients against the defendants in the Philips recall case, Conalicki, Philips NV, Philips North America LLC, and Philips RS North America LLC regarding their defective CPAP machines, BIPAP machines, and ventilators. This case was filed in the District of Massachusetts, where Philips RS North America LLC is headquartered in Boston. I was asked today to give you all a status on the Philips litigation and let you know what we are trying to do to address it. Philips manufactures and sells, as I think most of you know, worldwide, continuous positive airway pressure CPAP machines, bi-level positive airway pressure BiPAP machines, and ventilators that are used to treat sleep apnea and respiratory failure, respectively. On June 14th, Philips announced a recall of many of its CPAP, BiPAP machines and ventilators. And specifically, this is a huge deal. This is a recall that is affecting probably between 2 and 3 million Americans in the United States who have been prescribed and purchased and rely on these machines. Specifically, the machines were recalled because they contain polyester-based polyurethane known as PPER foam, which is used for sound abatement in the machines. And Philips has now announced that this foam may break down and be inhaled or ingested and emits volatile organic compounds, VOCs, that can be inhaled, ingested, and adversely affect organs, are carcinogenic and toxic. And Philips has now announced that these hazards can result in serious injury, which can be life-threatening or cause permanent impairment. We allege in the complaint that we filed that the discovery process will show that Philips knew about these substantial and material risks long before the recall, and in fact, very significantly timed the recall in coordination with the launch of its second generation product, which it announced only 2 weeks after giving notice of the problems with the breathing machines. And so if you think about that for a second, it's sort of mind-staggering. If this company based in the Netherlands sat on this knowledge and failed to give notice of these problems to consumers worldwide, while it endeavored to and ultimately did put out another product that didn't have this offending foam, knowing that it would drive all of these consumers to be forced to purchase the second generation product at further profit to Philips. The timing is very suspicious. Our large team of staff at my law firm in Philadelphia and our other offices around the United States are in the process of interviewing literally thousands of people that have been calling us, emailing us, being referred to us, who have serious injuries as a result of their use of these machines. And we've assembled a list of the types of injuries that people have been reporting over the last couple of weeks. And the list is really too long to go through now, given the time constraints that we have. But I'd be happy to share it with anybody who's interested, because it really, I think it does affect your practices and your patients. And But in summary, this list includes all types of respiratory, lots of different types of cancer, including, for example, esophageal cancer, bladder cancer, colon cancer, kidney cancer, liver cancer, thyroid cancer, throat cancer, tongue cancer, tonsil, vocal cord cancer. And these are actual people that have been calling us and saying, I was in perfect health. I didn't have a history of cancer. I was prescribed the CPAP machine. I started using it in 2017 or 2018 or something. And in 2020, I was diagnosed with throat cancer. And these are folks that every night since the time when they started using it have been hooked up breathing this toxic foam. The list is so long, I just had to skip through 3 or 4 pages. Philips has put out a number of statements about the recall, and I'm sure many of you have seen these statements and read these statements. For example, on April 26th, Philips announced the recall and conceded that the risks from the CPAP and BIPAP machines include that the foam, this is a quote from Philips, may degrade under certain circumstances influenced by factors including use of unapproved cleaning methods such as ozone and certain environmental conditions involving high humidity and temperature. Philips is in the process of engaging with the relevant regulatory agencies regarding this matter and initiating appropriate actions to mitigate these risks. Given the scope of the intended precautionary actions, Philips has already taken a reserve of over 250 million euro. Remember, this is a Dutch company that it's already set aside to try to address the litigation which is now ensuing. And I believe that will just be the literal tip of the iceberg in terms of the liability that Philips is going to face, not only in the United States, but in countries around the world as a result of this particular recall and this particular defect. Number of other statements that have been issued, but to sort of skip down to those that have been provided to physicians, Philips has stated that there have been reports of headaches, upper airway irritation, cough, chest pressure, and sinus infection that may be associated with the foam based on lab testing and evaluation, wide range of potential patient impact, transient potential injuries, symptoms, and complications, as well as possibly serious injury which can be life-threatening or cause permanent impairment or require medical intervention to preclude permanent impairment. Potential hazard. Philips has determined that the foam may degrade into particles which may enter the device's air pathway and be ingested or inhaled by the user of the CPAP, BiPAP, and mechanical ventilator devices. This foam degradation may be exacerbated by environmental conditions of higher temperatures and humidity in certain regions, like the South. Unauthorized cleaning methods such as ozone may accelerate potential degradation. And the statements have gone on to identify very specific toxic chemicals that we are now studying more closely. With respect to advising patients as to what to do, the situation is particularly egregious because Philips' quote-unquote recall is not really a recall at all. They have refused to provide an avenue for people to have their machines fixed. They have refused to pay people back for the purchase of their machines. They have refused to provide information to doctors and nurses and consumers about what to do. And they have basically now left millions of Americans who rely on these breathing machines for their health with no idea where to turn or what to do. And so they've turned to us. There are YouTube videos regarding the replacing of the foam in the machines, and if you were to go on YouTube and watch these, you would see how prohibitively difficult it is for patients to remove or replace the foam themselves. And, you know, just take our client who filed the first case, a truck driver who needs the machine in order to drive and do what he does for a living and can't use the machine, so he's out of work, and all of the other related consequences that this is causing for so many people right now in the United States. 1 week ago, on July 7th, a motion was filed with the United States Judicial Panel on multi-district litigation, asking that all of the cases against Phillips related to the recall be consolidated and presented before one federal judge for purposes of economy and efficiency. A briefing schedule has been set on that motion, which we will be arguing in late September. And at that time, the JPML, the Judicial Panel on Multi-District Litigation, will decide whether to consolidate the cases, and if so, what federal court it's going to send them to, and what judge will oversee all of the litigation. Once that is done, there'll be an appointment process for plaintiff's counsel to be appointed and for the litigation to move forward. But it's, you know, it's the American justice system, and it's not going to happen overnight. And so this situation is really leaving people in the lurch. Our firm is conducting extremely intensive investigation with a very large team, and also with other law firms around the country. Obviously, that kind of coordination and consolidation is part of being a leader in a case like this. And because there are likely over 2 million Americans who have been prescribed and purchased one of these machines, this is likely to be one of the largest pieces of litigation in recent times. And a primary issue in the case is going to be the proving of causation in the courts through various forms of expert testimony and science, linking the use of the machines and the off-gassing per foam to the type of injuries that plaintiffs are claiming. And I'm just so grateful, Dr. Glenn, for having the opportunity today to come for a few minutes and present on this very serious issue. We are interviewing doctors and scientists in real time. Even as I'm standing here today, we have teams that are working on this around the country. And so if there is anybody here that has been affected by this and would like to speak about it, or possibly consult us with respect to it, I'll be sitting in the back of the room for the next hour or so before I have to catch a flight back to Philadelphia, and I ask that you come talk to me about it, and we can set up a time to do so. So with that, Dr. Gunn, thank you so much.